Hi, everybody. I want to introduce you to my manager, Courtney Miller. Say hi,
Hello.
say hi, Courtney. Courtney and I have been working together actually years now, going on 7 years.
Oh my gosh. 7. 5 as an agent, 2 as a
Yeah.
manager.
Yeah, so Courtney was over at Innovative, and she is such a boss lady that she's like, and for reasons I can even let you explain, she was like, I actually am a manager and I'm doing manager things at Innovative, so I might as well have a manager umbrella. And so I moved with her to her management company now. She's with Stride. It's Stride Management is the full
Stride
name.
management.
Do
We've
you
made
have
a lot of stride puns lately right now with the quarantine of striding through this together, and we're just all going a little bit mad.
That's so funny. Do you have was there something in your heart that just told you you were just manager driven, or did you just sort of see over time that that's where you just wanted to try it and see how it fit?
Get
Or
a little burned out just dealing with the volume of what comes with an agency. And I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand that your agent and your manager do not serve exactly the same purpose, because an agent has a lot more clients, and a manager can really focus on a smaller handful, whether that's some people 10, 20, 30, 40. Like, the number is different depending on who it is. And I was a very managery agent, as you know, and I really wanted to focus on those things. Those were the things I cared a lot about, of guiding your career, my clients' careers, the ones that I was really the integral piece of their team. And so I decided to make the transition, with the support of my former agency, which was great. I have a ton of clients over there. And I feel like the managers that have been agents, and there's a lot of us, definitely have a slightly different view of everything from pitching to materials to talking to your clients than anyone that hasn't come through on the agency side, because there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of clients who are right for projects. One of my biggest frustrations personally is when I feel like Abby Cobb is so right for this and casting's just not seeing it. So, like, you guys don't even begin to see the no's that we see, that we have to try to fight for to even get that audition. And so I really, really enjoy doing it just in a smaller way and being able to be so much more hands-on.
yeah, and you do a lot of develop, like you have a heart for developing too, where some people won't even see new clients if they're not a series regular on this and that and will have this movie coming out and whatever. But you have a heart for like discovering new faces and developing, and then like helping them elevate their platform.
I love it. I really do. I think that it's hard. It's hard to get your foot in. There are hundreds and thousands, of actors who are working, and many more who are not. And I think that the most important thing for me is finding somebody that I'm passionate about, because there will be dry spells. No matter, take the quarantine and COVID and everything aside, there are always dry spells and moments also where you feel like the momentum is finally taking you someplace, and it does, and moments where you feel like the momentum is finally taking you someplace and none of those projects really hit the way you were expecting, and you're kind of right back to where you were the year before. So like, I have to find people that I'm passionate about, and I like being able to help shape those careers. I really do. So to me, it's less about the credits and more about, like, do I have that same passion that I have for someone else, for them?
Yeah, to get you through the dry patches where they
Yeah.
might have a job. Speaking of dry patches, what would, if any actor had just like lots of like free time as a manager, what would you suggest? What are some of the things that you suggest we do right now with our free time if we're in between jobs or we're stuck at home for some reason?
Right now, truthfully, the best thing you can do is take care of your mental health and take care of your physical health. Anyone who's talking about and worried about auditions and how to do that right, it's not happening. Like, yes, there are a couple, like 5 exceptions with projects, but for the most part, there's no production right now. So this is the time to embrace the low and embrace the point where there's nothing really you can do except make sure when we get out the other side of it that you feel like you're in a good place, that you feel ready, that you feel like you have mentally taken care of yourself, that you are reading, that you are watching TV. Watch some shows that you haven't, aren't familiar with, because you should never go into audition for a show that's on the air without having seen at least a piece of an episode or something to give you the tone. So if now you're like, oh, I was getting auditions for comedies, or I really want to do comedy, but I don't really watch a lot. Like watch the stuff that's from the past couple years, because as much as something like How I Met Your Mother is great, or like binging Friends episodes is great, we're now several years out from when those shows were on the air, and you're not going to be going in the room for something that's the same exact style it was 10 years ago. So I just think it's great. Research, if you're watching something, look up, see what the producers have done, see what the other actors have been in. The worst thing you can do for yourself right now is go crazy about something that we don't have any control over. And a lot of us are control freaks. So that is like the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah.
And you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, that is such a good point. That's such a good point.
You can keep your acting chops sharp. I know that AFA is doing online classes. A lot of schools are doing online classes. A lot of people like you have your friend group that you're actors, you're getting together on Zoom, you're doing these things. But again, don't feel like you have to do something groundbreaking during that time. Just like keep those tools sharp the same way you would like if it's been a 3-month period and you haven't had a single audition and you feel like you're going nowhere. It's the same kind of thing, except everyone is in that right now. Like you are not alone. Like you have a lot of people, and a lot of people who have starred on television shows who are in the same exact boat as you are right now.
That's such a good point. It's comforting to know, yes, we're frustrated that the ship is docked, but everybody's on the same ship. So we're not getting behind.
Mm-hmm. And those frustrations, I mean, I've talked with clients just during, the regular time of those frustrations. Those things frustrate us too, as representatives, when we feel like, gosh, this is the third job we've gotten so close on. We don't let you see that a lot because,
because you're a good
I don't want you to have to then carry my frustration on top of it. But we get mad, we get frustrated.
That's so funny. Can I ask you a question about your particular preference as a manager on something? Just because we so rarely do we get a peek inside the mind of an agent or manager, just as actors who, some of us have rep, some of us don't, some of us are in between, transitioning between agent and manager, or only have one but would like the other one. When people pursue you, I'm sure you get unsolicited email and mail every day, all the time. Is there anything that jumps out at you when actors are looking for rep, whether you're going to sign them or not? Like if you open the email right away and you know that they're not for you, what do you like to see in packages or pitches from an actor? And what is is there anything positive or negative that jumps out to you?
Personally, and I think there are a lot of people that would probably agree with what I'm saying, is that I read every single email that comes to my inbox. Sometimes it's more of a glance if I'm immediately turned off by something and I can tell it's an actor pitch, but I read every single one of them. And the ones that resonate the most with me are when someone writes to you the way you would, a normal person, or you're trying to get a job interview. That's really what you're trying to get, is a job interview. So when someone says, Dear Courtney, or I've gotten a couple Dear Miss Millers from younger, which always, it's very respectful, but it makes me feel weird. But that's totally fine. Like, Dear Courtney, I want some kind of statement from you about how you found me, why you wrote me, whether that's something, I specific about my client list, about, referrals, about someone that, I know you represent Abby Carr, but I really admire what's, going on in her career. So I thought, I'm looking for a manager. I wanted to reach out. Something that makes sense and that makes me feel like you took the time to reach out to me. It should include your materials. It should include headshots, photos. I've signed people before that do not have the best headshot photos, but it needs to be a good photo of you. Any materials you have, Instagram. If I'm even kind of interested and you didn't include an Instagram link, I'm probably going to go look. Instagram shows what people really look like, and a lot of times a really terrible photo or a really lousy demo reel, if I'm considering working with someone, I'm going to do that. Casting is not going to do that. So that's why like the materials we send have to be relevant to them. But yeah, something that shows who you are, why you're reaching out to me, your resume, your demo, or scenes that you shot, you know, in class. I think that the thing that a lot of people try to do is the make it different, make it jazzy. Like, I hate that. Most of us are turned off by that. Like, I noticed you had not a single, insert here on your roster. Made even worse by if they're like, I noticed you do not rep anyone Asian. It's like, well, I do. And not that it makes a difference, but did you even look since you're telling me you didn't? Like,
Right.
those kind of catchy things are what I consider like the equivalent of something someone actually asked me about years ago. And I said, please never do this to anybody, which is, would it make me special and stand out if I put glitter in the envelope I'm sending to an agency? And I was like, absolutely not. It will get you blacklisted.
Don't do that. Do not do
that up. And he will hate you and I will. No, I think just the amount of normal written emails that I receive are few and far between. And truthfully, those people always get a better response from me. Anyway, I know during this period, I've actually noticed that the emails I've been receiving have been a lot better written than they had in the past. There's a lot of things firing off late at night that are just like, hi, I'd like to be considered for representation and a photo. And it just, if I can get a taste of who you are from your email, it's the very first line of, might we jive together? Might we be the right fit? Because in addition to me thinking that, you know, that I would like to work with you as your look, your style, your talent, your whatever that is, we have to get on as people.
Yeah.
You don't, or like sometimes we'll start working with a manager or rep and think you're both totally on the same page, but it takes a couple of months to realize you just don't click in that way. And you don't have to click with everyone equally. You do not have to feel the same about your agent as you feel about your manager. I think your manager should really, you know, be in it day to day more with you. You know, if your agent is not calling you back to chit chat, you don't have time to do that. Don't worry about it. You know, but that's why you have a manager, hopefully, to help with that. And if you don't, if you have one but not the other, as a former agent, as a current manager, always talk to your current rep. Like if you have an agent but you're looking for a manager, and just say to your agent, like, hey, I really, you know, really love to try to take on a manager. Is there anyone that you think, you know, might be right? You know, or would you prefer I do some reaching out on my own? I think unless you're at a certain level, a lot of agents, I think, you know, might suggest you kind of do the search on your own, because there's a lot on their plate, and it's hard to reach out to an agent or manager and say, I represent someone that don't really have anything going on. Do you want to take a look? I don't think that I get a passionate response that way. So like I get a lot of emails from people that do have agents that are asking me if I'd consider them, but just make sure you're on the same page as your current rep when you do it, because there's nothing a rep on either side likes less than being totally blindsided and be like, oh my God, I met with this person. I love them. I've signed with them. And then for the flip side to be like, well, I didn't even know.
Yeah, wow. I have a question for that, and there might not be an answer. I have a lot of actors who are either with just an agent or just a manager, and they would like both. Mm-hmm. But their agent or their manager have said, you don't need another one right now. I'll let you know when it's time, and won't let the actor pursue a different relationship, either because they don't know that person or they just are saying no for whatever reason.
There's not a one size fits all to that. I have been in the situation. Look, what I really think it comes down to is trust. Do you trust that your current representative and you are on the same page, or do you trust that what they're bringing to the table is more knowledgeable than you? It's complicated if you have an agent or have a manager and you want the other, but one of them is, you know, saying it's not time, or I don't think it's right. You know, when I tend to do that to clients and say, I don't think it's time, I think it's too early, it comes from the place of I have been pitched as an agent all of those clients before at that level, at that type, right? Someone that a manager really believes in and thinks is great, but I can't bring anything to my exec board or the head of my company and say, geez, this is why I think we should sign them. A lot of agencies sign as a we, you know, and you have to clear it through somebody. And I think that when I say it's just too early, it's not that, oh, I wouldn't love for you to have a terrific agent, but I know that a lot of people are going to pass right now because there's not something to talk about or not something hot. And when I sign somebody, I have to be able to have something. If I don't have like great materials, I'm putting my reputation on the line when I write to a casting director or I call them and say, I just signed this person, you're gonna know who they are, but take a look. You should really see them. That's where, you know, our piece comes from. And I can't, so when I have clients that come to me and say, I'd really love to have an agent too, it's like, I would love to have for you to have an agent, but the scope of what we have going on for you right now is not giving me much to work with to try to get one. Now, I think there are times where people say for so long, yeah, you're good, you're good, you're good. And you have to trust that your rep and you are on the same page or trust their knowledge of what you don't know from behind the scenes. Because there are other clients, you know, who I have met and signed who had an agent, you know, who was doing a good job, but like you really could have used a manager, and somehow our cross paths, we found each other and it worked out and the whole team works well together. But I think if you, it's the trust piece, and I hope that you trust every representative that you have, but I know from past experience with clients who have had managers or agents that they do not trust for the right reasons. And I know a lot of people who have had it for the wrong reasons, and they think, I have a manager or I have an agent and they're not getting me out at all for these things. And that's where like the no's from my side are so important. The ones that you don't see, the ones that are like, well, I can't get you arrested and I am trying so hard. Not only am I trying, but I have the right connections to do it. The name of the agency, the name of the management company, it doesn't matter. As long as the person is your agent or is your manager, or the people are capable of doing the job for you. I don't care if you are at a low, tiny boutique agency or you are at a mid-size or a huge one, as long as the people are doing the job. And we are up against a lot to try to get you that opportunity. Now there are times I'd be like, God, if I just get somebody else's hands that could just help be another voice, it would help. So it's complicated.
Yeah, no, that's the insight from the other perspective is so helpful for us.
Even if you're not seeing it, you have to believe they're fighting it for you. Like I have clients who sometimes will go a couple months without audition. And this actually happened this year. And then in September, one of my developmental clients, very, very few credits. I just believe in her. And I think she's super special. Probably had like 2.5 months without a single thing from me. Nothing. Just super dry. She went to Europe. I had like 6 auditions that week for her. It just came out of nowhere.
Is that Sarah?
It was Sarah.
Yeah.
It was like, boom, I need this. And at that point, it's just, we had to laugh. We had to laugh and be like,
buy a plane ticket, get an audition. That's the rule.
Yeah. Buy a plane ticket, get an audition, buy a house in LA, get a job in New York. Don't actually buy one. Hoping that, but
yeah. That is so funny and so true. It's so helpful for us to get your just the other side perspective, because we never ever get a peek like this. Any last thoughts? Like if you had just a room full of actors who we don't necessarily even know what to ask, is there anything you would want to tell us or give us a thought or advice?
In general, right now is not a bad time to be reaching out. If you do not have representation, you're looking to add somebody and you're going through IMDb and you're flagging the people you think, you know, might be right. I would encourage people to always, when you're doing that search, whether it's manager or agent, to be smart about it. Really target people that you think would be a good fit when you're writing these emails. You know, don't send off an email to someone who reps like all A-list movie star talent, being like, would you please develop me? Like it's, you have to be realistic is not smart, but like that person's not going to fight for you. Like you need somebody who's going to go fight for you. And right now isn't the worst time, because I have a lot of available time right now. I'm not going to do Skype meetings or Zoom meetings or something. People ask you, oh, will you, I need to get a feel for someone in the room. But I've told 2 people so far that I will reach out to you or reach back out to me when we get through this, and I'll sit down with you for a meeting. I think that we've got a little more time than when I've got 2 casting directors on the phone and a client I really need to call back, and I'm trying to revise Abby's pitch because we just added something. Like, there is more time right now. So don't feel bad reaching out. Things you can do are take care of yourself mentally, physically. Just in general, when you're trying to get new photos, new materials, like, it is so important for us to have materials that reflect what you actually look like. When you audition, what you can actually look like. And if that is, I have multiple photos of Abby that, depending on the role, I will use, but she can look like all of them, whether it's like the faux bangs or the, done up curls or the straight hair. Having photos, and I love having lots of photos that are an accurate reflection and a flattering reflection of what you look like right now, because that is our most important tool to sell, are the photos. And then the materials, but the photos first. So I have
if you're gonna splurge on anything, you would say splurge on getting great
photos. But if you're gonna splurge and you have a rep, talk to your rep first and see what you need. There's nothing worse than getting an email saying, I got a new photo shoot done, here's all my photos, and I open them and I'm like, great, none of these have helped me. Like, so you either have to go pay $400 to $600 and do it again, or you could have just asked me. And what commercial needs for photos is very different. Whenever someone's like, I need to get some more commercial photos, I'll say, okay, call your commercial agent and ask them what they need, because what they need is very different from what anyone theatrically can use. They'll be like, we need a blue shirt photo, because you look, commercial is, as much as theatrical is about like how you look and what vibe you fit, the commercial is like, we know exactly what we want. So if they're pitching you for a Honda commercial, they're going to say, you need to have a blue shirt polo so that we can pitch you for Honda and Best Buy. Like, literally, totally different world.
Yeah. Courtney, that's so helpful.
Like, is that everything? Yeah, it's just
so helpful.
Oh, side note. Okay, I am very good friends with a lot of my clients, so this rule does have its exception. When there is like a weekend thing, don't text us. Don't call. Don't be emailing. Don't call on a Friday night at 7 o'clock and be like, I really wanted to talk about, a game plan for this. This is just regular business.
So like 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning is not a great time to chat about headshots.
Don't, just give me a mental break over the weekend, because I need that mental break to come back and crush it for you. And there's a lot of reasons we have to be working nights and weekends, and it's deals and it's lots of things. It is not the email about your headshots that needed to come in on Friday night. Some people might not about this at all, but I read something and I kind of want to deal with it. So for me, I prefer not to. In general, kind of respect those things. Oh, and deadlines. Respect deadlines. And when your deadline says by end of business day, so like 6 o'clock really to be safe. 7 o'clock is really the end of business, but here's what you don't see on our side. Sometimes we're emailing it off to casting. Sometimes we have a very specific upload link that actually expires. And if you're thinking, oh, it's due by 2 and I got it to her at 2, well, 1 to 2 actually is this kind of standard lunch hour. Like, I might have wandered off to go get some food. I'm not sitting there anticipating that the second it comes in at 1:59 and I'm going to be able to flip it over and I'm going to be able to upload it.
Right.
This is something I feel very passionate about. When you have a deadline, beat it by at least 2 hours. Unless it's a rush job of I've done this to Abby many times. I know you're on set. I need it tomorrow morning by 11 o'clock. There are exceptions to every rule, but the general rule, I have clients who consistently deliver me self-tapes. If they have a couple days to do it, 16 hours ahead of time. And that just makes life so much easier. There's no panic. There's no, if there's anything that goes wrong on your end.
Perfect. This is so much more than I even expected. It's so great.
You know me.
Imagine all of my actors standing behind me and we're all just green screen giving you a round of applause. Thank you so much for your insight and your help.
My pleasure.
That's so funny. I'm going to wave and say
thanks.
Thank you.